Hey there! Thanks for being a part of Groundwork Collective, a community where we enjoy sharing how to build good foundations with our horses from the ground up into the saddle. Hi everybody, welcome to my YouTube channel. Don't mind me just trying to figure out where the light is best in my barn. Today I am planning on working with Finn. Am I just gonna go in to talk to you about Finn? Well, this is kind of a video all about him, so I feel like that's fitting. Let's go, everybody. Good boy. Yeah, I'm sorry I pushed you over. I'm sorry. So one of the hardest things about YouTube, in my opinion, is that I'm trying to figure out lighting all the time. I'm trying to figure out like how to get like the best quality videos on my iPhone. I could shoot it on my other camera, but lugging that thing out for vlogs just really isn't it. Today I'm getting out Finn. He's currently for sale and he's having somebody come look at him on Saturday the 26th. So I'm excited. This person is going to be riding in our horse training clinic over at Chappell Equine, testing him out, seeing how they do together, like, you know, that type of thing. I want to say Finn had about 3 to 4, 5 weeks maybe off. I should go back and look, but I was gone in June and I was gone for most of July. So like he has had kind of an inconsistent summer since I haven't been here. I rode him on Sunday for the first time in like I said, like 5 weeks. So he's had Sunday, Monday, today's Tuesday. This video is gonna come out on Friday. So like I'll have a couple more days to talk about some of the things I do with Finn and why. Because I really want you guys to get to know him. Like he's a really cool horse and I'm not gonna have him for that much longer, hopefully, knock on wood. This is not a good angle for Finn. His head looks huge, but we're just working with what we got at this point. I can't remember what I was saying exactly, but oh, here's my cat. That's Gus. You want to be in the video, Gus? Yeah. He said, yeah, I really want to. Here, oh, don't knock it over. Don't knock it over. You can be in it, but don't knock it over. Come here. All right, my cat likes to have my constant attention. So like I was saying before, I think we can all agree that 95% of the time our horses are better for us if we've been getting them out multiple times a week. I am the first to admit I don't get my horses out like 5-6 days a week, not nowhere even close, especially right now because I've been gone so much. But in the light of the fact that he's going to be ridden in the clinic on Saturday with a new person, I want to make sure I have my checklist of like, Finn, are you being a good boy? Like, are you worried about anything? Do we have any more that I need to work on with you so I can set you up for that for success? Not that I'm worried about him. I'm really not. This is just like the way that we program for all of our horses. We want to show them at their best. But I'm also going to be really, really honest and have already been about some of the things that like you need to keep in mind when you work with Finn specifically, or like a horse like Finn. I'll kind of start by telling just like a little bit of his story. Finn came to us in February. He had been in a pasture for who knows how many years. He's 16 years old, and to our knowledge, he had only really been ridden on trails and had like, you know, been to a trainer, but like not really for anything, kind of just getting rides. I don't really have the full story on Finn. Finn is never gonna be your like shiny, sparkly, like Gymkhana horse. I don't know if he's ever ranched. I don't know if he's ever seen a cow. I don't know the extent to which he's trail ridden, like in his whole life. Like, does he do obstacles? Is he scared of like crazy things? I don't know all of that because I've only known him for less than a year. But when I do groundwork with Finn, I can start to tell what things bother him. And like, those are the things I'm going to spend time on, and I'm going to try and convince him that whatever it is that he doesn't like, we can like work on it together and it's going to get better. I think something really important to remember when you evaluate a new horse or a horse that you're going to try to sell is their age. Like, he's 16 years old and there is so much of his history that I don't know anything about. Like, I need to be really honest with myself when I work with him, like being like, is this something that he was doing beforehand, or is this something that I'm doing or I'm causing in him? And how can I start to piece together like the puzzle pieces of like what kind of trainer, rider, partner is Finn gonna need? Like, what is his best case scenario? What type of home is he gonna do really well in? And I think about all those things when I'm like, I kind of adopt a horse, you know, and then try to find them a new home. When I think about a home for Finn, my hope and prayer for Finn as he goes off into a new home, a new barn, a new situation, new horses, and new life, basically, is I want somebody that is willing to take their time, you know, in the things that they do if he's uncomfortable. If he's showing you that he's nervous, which I promise you, like, you guys will see that in him as we get like further into this video, I want you to recognize it, recognize his body language, take that into account, and ask yourself, how much of this reaction is me and not Finn? And how do I help him work through these things? He's not like a, you know, Ruger, in my opinion, is like a spooky horse. Like, he's up there 8, 9, 10, like the way he was when I first got him. Finn is like maybe like a 4 or 5. Like, he's an older horse. He doesn't really want to deal with stuff. He's not like worried, especially if you're out with another horse, and especially Finn is not really worried when he really trusts his rider, which is so important. So if you're like willing to take the time to sit with him and help him figure that stuff out, it really makes a difference in the long run. So I really hope that Finn gets somebody who will take their time with him. I really hope that Finn finds a home where he's well suited to the goals of the rider or the new owner, right? Potential owner. So what kind of horse is Finn? What does he do well at? What does he not like? What would he like to do? Like, what does Finn seem to enjoy doing? Because I feel like that is a huge piece of, like, if I'm going to sell a horse for this specific thing, I need to know what he likes to do. And for Finn, in the time that I've spent with him, like, he's not an arena horse. He doesn't love it. He can do it. He can flex, he can collect, he can do flexing circles, he can walk, trot, canter, stop, back up, like, nicely. He can do all that stuff, but it's like really hard for him. As you can see, I don't remember who said it. I feel like it was Katie Kepler who said this to me the first time she met Finn, was he has the back of a limousine. Like, his back is a lot longer than any of the horses that I have. And so for him, getting that hindquarters like up and underneath, his, like holding his belly up and lifting his spine, getting his head down, that's really hard for him. He has like a ton of muscle in his neck, and if he's nervous or if he's looking something, his headset is here. So he's stiff, like he has these muscles that he's built up over the course of his lifetime, right? And if Finn wasn't a barrel horse at 4, he's not gonna really be like the best barrel horse at 16, you know? So that's kind of what I think is like, Finn has a lot of stiffness issues, and for a horse like this who's not lame but he's just stiff, it's like very, very manageable. Like, stretching is very good for Finn. He is on Miko's Choice CBD. He gets that once a day. When I get him out from not riding him for a while, I spend a lot of time flexing him and getting him soft and doing different stretches. Specifically too, like before the farrier, like the farrier came out last week and did him, and I should have spent a little bit more time just like stretching Finn before the farrier got here. So that's something I try to do that benefits this horse, that I am like willing to spend the time on if it means that he's more comfortable with what I'm asking him to do in his job. Like, oh, that's a cute face, Finn. That's a really cute face. The other thing is I just want somebody that wants to spend time with Finn. I think he is a super personable and friendly horse. My other 3, Bloom, Rube, Ginny, none of them come to say hi to me when I come into the barn, like, as affectionately as Finn does. Like, he's the first one to greet me every morning. He wants to hang out with me when I'm just like cleaning his stall. Finn is a cool horse and would really benefit from somebody that wanted to spend a lot of time with him. And Finn is the most receptive horse to positive affirmation that I have literally ever met. Like, he eats that up for breakfast. He wants to know how good of a boy he is. He wants you to rub on him. He wants you to scratch him, like all that kind of stuff. He just wants to, I just love that Finn wants to be with you, like, more than, you know, my working horses do. Yeah, none of them are as friendly as him. They'll come up to you for different reasons, but like, he is like Johnny on the spot, ready for you, like 10 steps before you even get in the barn. So I love this guy. I think he's gonna make somebody a really nice partner, especially now that he is like more well-rounded and like really has built up his trust in people. Because again, this horse is 16 years old. I don't know like what really he's been through in his life, like I said, but I can tell you one thing: appaloosas are their own breed. Like, I don't know many appaloosas, but the ones I have worked with are really like, unique. And each one is so different. Obviously all horses are different, but like their attitude, whether or not an Appaloosa has an attitude, in my opinion, is partially breeding, but also partially like how well does the person handle them, because Appaloosas are like mares. You have to really like take into consideration what they do and don't want to do. Otherwise you're just gonna end up like kind of fighting with them. So like I really want that for Finn. I want him to have somebody that's willing to kind of be his partner and willing to work through things with him, willing to be the person that he looks to for leadership and support, and like is confident in that. I also think he's a great horse for somebody to learn with. Like I really do. Like this horse has a lot to offer. He's very forgiving. He's extremely smart. He's great to go out like on the trail by himself. Like I took him out after not riding. Let me just tell you about how he was on Sunday. I maybe did an hour of groundwork with him, 45 minutes or so, and then I got on him. I was in my arena, walked, trot, cantered, asked him to flex both ways, do some circles, like lift his rib cage, support himself in his hind end. Like he did all the things I asked him to do, and he did them really nicely. And then I took him out for like a 25-30 minute trail ride around my property with no other horses. I was completely by myself, and he was like perfect, like had no problems. Yesterday I worked him at Mike's, so I went out to Mike's and I worked him for a little bit in the arena, which the arena sometimes can cause like a little bit of anxiety for horses, because they know like this is where I have to work pretty hard, or like this is where I've worked hard in the past. But like again, if you're not like schooling on him hard, Finn is like really good in an arena with multiple other horses being worked. He just kind of stands there. One horse like had a problem at the hitching post, and he literally just stood there like it was whatever. He looked at it, he kind of went like this, but he didn't like spook or do anything crazy. So I'm going to kind of run through what I do with Finn regarding his groundwork. And I don't know how well this will videotape itself because I don't have like a Pivo and I don't have anybody helping me film this right now. Yeah, so I'm gonna shut up and I'm gonna just tack up Finn now. So this is the absolute best it has looked smoke wise all week. And you can still see there is smoke, but there's like more blue sky than there is smoke, but it's still like not great. I'm trying to take advantage of like this nicer weather while I still have it, especially because Finn is gonna be in the clinic on Saturday and I want to ride him every day before he leaves me. He does not look like he wants to ride, but it's okay. This angle doesn't really do Finn any justice, but it's what we're working with, so. Finn didn't used to like to be saddled. He'd get really nervous. Alright, so I'm waiting for my arena to water. I need a better watering situation, to be honest, because by the time I move this thing, that spot's dry and it's just not efficient. But I kind of like go from one spot and then I move it and then I work in that spot and then I like move it again and I work in that spot. And that's the system I have right now. Finn has been standing here for like 30 minutes. I cleaned his stall, set out the water, and I tied up Junie, Rug, and Bloom like at different places around the barn because I'm not really going to do anything with them tonight, so I wanted to make sure they at least got out. And now I'm going to work with Finn. I will do my groundwork routine with him, and then I'm not going to talk during it because I'm going to be over there. I don't have my little microphones on. That was Ruger. But yeah, I'm just going to go work Finn now. Finn doesn't really like the sprinkler, but I make him deal with it, so it's good for him.
So, get ready to watch me do one really long montage of groundwork with Finn. When I do groundwork with Finn, I really try to pay attention to how well he's moving into the circle. So, is he bent? Is he yielding up nicely? Is he easily changing directions? Like, how mobile and flexible is Finn today? I am always evaluating and looking for stiffness throughout Finn's body, specifically through his neck and ribcage. I'm also looking at whether or not he's getting his hindquarters underneath himself, rather than him dropping that inside shoulder, turning his nose to the outside, and swinging his hips way out around the outside of the circle. Like I mentioned earlier in the video, it is pretty hard for Finn to keep this frame given how long his back is, so sometimes he can only hold it for short periods of time. As I prepare Finn to lope, I try to ensure that he is set up to take the correct lead. Finn sometimes has a hard time taking the correct leads and ends up cross-firing instead, which means that his front legs and his back legs don't go together. I try to shut him down before he gets too far when cross-firing and take my time to reset him again before asking him to lope. If the trot isn't nice before he takes off into the lope, I usually won't let him go into it. I want him to always take off from a nice trot first. In my opinion, teaching a horse to transition up from a trot to a lope on the correct leads on a lunge line is of the utmost importance for when you get into the saddle. I am a big time believer that if your horse has a hard time loping without you on his back, then he will have an even harder time once you're actually in the saddle. I like to take the time to tell Finn that he's doing a good job when he does end up getting the correct lead. I know it's harder for him, and it seems to make a big difference the next time I ask if I take the time to give him some positive affirmation. Another thing I like to do with the horses I work is to take a break in between lunging each side. I like to let the horses rest, catch their breath, and process what I was just asking of them. During this time, I'll also ask for softness in a flex, as well as yielding their hindquarters. This encourages lateral softness once you get into the saddle and start working on your flexing turns. After a few minutes of rest and softening work, I'm going to clearly ask for the reverse direction. All of the things I mentioned that I consider when working the horse initially also applies to working on this new side. Mike always likes to say that groundworking horses is like long division. What you do to one side, you need to do to the other. He explains it as if there are two horses we are working, the left side horse and the right side horse, and they aren't very good at communicating with each other. This is why sometimes your horse will or won't do something only on one side. Once I've made sure that Finn is moving out well on both sides at the walk, trot, and the lope, I like to start working on desensitizing. I've noticed that working on this is usually better for the horse once they've gotten some of that initial top energy out during lunging. Finn has done lots of desensitizing with me, so make sure that if you are doing this work with your horse, that you introduce the bag slower than I am doing here in this video. I personally like to start my desensitizing while the horse is standing still, and then we'll ask the horse to move around me again in a circle. This is so they can get used to the feeling of the bag around their body in various places. This actually used to be a point where Finn would get easily overwhelmed and fearful of the bag. He has come a long way with this exercise and doesn't need as much desensitizing anymore, but it's something I still like to keep in his routine just to make sure that he's still comfortable with it. There's lots of different ways to desensitize a horse to a bag or scary objects, but with Finn, I'm going to desensitize him until I see him go from a trot to a walk and start to really relax into it. It's also important to maintain a soft, steady, rhythmic pace with the bag, so you don't see me moving it erratically, you see me kind of moving it methodically, just so that horse can get used to that same movement with the bag. Once they're fine with that, then you can kind of move it around more and more, but here I'm just trying to be steady and I don't want to scare Finn, so I'm just going to kind of go through the motions of our routine and be happy with what he gives me.
Honestly, Finn did his groundwork so much better today than he did the other day, and even the other day he wasn't bad, so I'm pretty happy with him. You can see a little bit of nervousness with the bag, but worked through it, got him down comfortable with it, realizing it's not going to kill him. That type of stuff is really important for when you're trail riding, because if something comes out of the bushes, makes noise, like you want to know what kind of reaction you're going to get from your horse. And so Finn was really good for his groundwork, and I feel like I'm almost ready to ride. I'm going to flex him on this side and do some stuff on this side, and then I'll be good to hop on. Oh boy. So I kind of want to end this vlog here. I might get like a clip or two of me just riding Finn in this vlog. Today I'm just gonna hop on Finn, ride him around a little bit, go for a little trail ride out around the barn. I might pony bloom, we'll see. Yeah, that's pretty much what I'm gonna do. So see you guys tomorrow. I really enjoy sharing the work that I do with the horses I have in my care, but don't want these YouTube videos to give the impression that I am advertising myself as a public horse trainer.
I have been advised extensively regarding the exercises that I did with Finn by my horse trainer, Mike Chappell, over at Chappell Equine. Please make sure that if you are wanting to apply these tools and methods to your horses, that you are educated properly in order to maintain effective and clear communication between you and your horse. Happy training!